take all day. Hey, look, there it is. Does it show up on your screen? Does it sit right in the middle? It's like you were live. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, let's do it official. Welcome everyone. As you're joining in, come in and say hi. I'm really excited because this is the huge live stream, and we have one of our speakers from the huge convention and one of our partners, Jim DuBois. And Jim DuBois is, I always refer to you as an OG, maybe the OG. And there are a couple of reasons why. Jim you've been in window cleaning for over 25 years. You built a really successful business. The cool thing is you've gone from side hustle, scrappy, working on your own to building a tidy little empire in Mooresville, North Carolina. And I don't know if you're the original, but I think you are, like the first company that named their company Squeegee Pros, because there are dozens and dozens of Squeegee Pros, but you're the original. So well done.
I actually bought the domain from a guy that was going out of business up in Connecticut.
Oh, no way. Oh, that's cool.
Yep, and I'm Squeegee Pros with an S on the end. There are some Squeegee Pro out there. I think there's a couple of them out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Well, so I want to give some context for people that will be jumping in, or if you're watching this replay. And first of all, I see several people jumping in live. Just comment, like drop a howdy in the comments to let us know you're here, where you're from, so we can see who's joining us. And if you have questions, then you can ask those questions. But here's the thing I wanted to give context to, and I don't want to speak disparagingly of anyone, but there are a lot of fake gurus online that they have a lot of sizzle and they don't have a lot of steak. They've gone out and knocked on doors and maybe they've made $10,000 and now they're teaching everybody how to be a millionaire cleaning windows because they're good at door-to-door sales or whatever. And like I said, I'm not putting anybody down. I admire the hustle, but you have window washing wealth and you have a coaching program and you're going to be teaching the $1 Million Playbook. And it's critical when you're learning from somebody to learn from someone that's actually done it, not from somebody that teaches theory and just, it has good ideas. So Jim, you're that guy that's done it. And so I'm going to share something on screen just to give somebody an idea. So I looked up your company. I just Googled, I was like, I bet Jim killing it in his area. You dominate. And so I was window cleaners in Mooresville, North Carolina. And this is the Google. It's not just a 3-pack. I expanded it, but Squeegee Pros is number one with over 1,300 reviews. And you've got a I can't read that on my screen, 4.8 or 4.9 thing. And then you're the other folks that are struggling to keep up with you. Like you've got 200 reviews, 400 reviews, 200 reviews. You're like, geez, you're a dominant fixture in, I bet this guy, Lakeview Window Cleaning, when he got in business, he probably looks at yours every day and just cries. He's got 9 reviews and you've got, 100 times more reviews, whatever.
Sid, I got to tell you, it wasn't always that way. I was at the 9 at some point years ago. And, it's this stuff that we're talking about, at my session, the $1 Million Playbook, and all the things that we do to whether it's helping my company, helping clients do better, or just people that I meet in the business to do better. That's what this stuff is all about. There's tactics, there's strategies, there's a roadmap that if you just follow the step by steps, it just turns into growth and it turns into scale. And it took me, it took me a long time to figure all these things out. I'm probably one of the slower guys in entrepreneurship, even though I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19. I don't move as fast as many, but I don't quit. And I keep reaching and just going for it. And those little wins, they start to turn into something. And but once I really learned about lead generation, the importance of the consistency to lead flow, and the importance to the increase to the consistency of that lead flow, because you have to have that if you're going to go to 7 figures. There's no other way around it. You have to have that increase of consistency of lead flow to get there. Once that started to come alive in my little world here in Mooresville, it just kept taking us higher and higher to the place that we're at today. So now we just keep doing what we're doing. That's the plan. You went mute there.
Hold on. Is that better?
That's much better.
How'd I mute myself?
That radio voice is back.
Thanks. You remember Josh Latimer taught something, he just had a phrase, and he said, become a nightmare to compete with. And my good friend Perry Marshall he's got a couple books. One of them was the 80-20 sales and marketing. And he talks about building a moat around your business. And like being the dominant player with the most reviews by a stretch is part of a moat. It's like when people are searching window cleaners in my area or whatever, and they find, there's 6 people to choose from, or in the 3-pack case, you got 3. One's got 1,300 reviews, one's got 300 reviews, one's got 250. Who am I going to call? My first call is going to the clear leader, because I want the best and I want the best reputation. And it's not that the others, maybe they're not good, but it's like that consistency that you talk about, building over time, like it does add up to making you incredibly difficult to compete against, because you've built a reputation over time. It's not, hey, we got 100 reviews in a year. Great.
And it takes time. It does take time. And many, they want it to happen so fast. And for many, it can happen fast, but there's a compartmentalization aspect behind this, that the systems have to be in place. The A-player employees have to be coming in. The lead flow's got to be in place. You have to have leadership that's orchestrating this. And once you start putting those pieces of the puzzle together, well, growth turns into scale. And is it easy? No. Is it hard? No, it's not hard. It's just following the steps. And it's just, how do I say it? I was doing a boot camp last week, and I was talking about this right here is the bottleneck.
Yeah.
This right here. And once we start taking this and transforming it to where we're thinking like a 7-figure CEO, once we start developing that mindset, we start thinking differently. I mean, really think about that for a second. If you were starting again today and you put this 7-figure CEO mindset in place, you start thinking differently. You start thinking bigger. You start thinking duplication so that you can scale. But most don't. They're so stuck in the day-to-day, and it's not their fault. They just don't know. They just don't know. And the huge convention is we've put this together so people can get out of the day-to-day. They can start not being stuck in the day-to-day and working on business versus in it all the time. And we hear this all of the time, but how many actually start thinking this way? All right, I'm going to prioritize and start working on this, on my business, then this, then this, then this. And if you just follow the steps and the dots are connecting like they're supposed to, it's almost magical what begins to happen. And it took me years to start really understanding and figuring these things out. And I'm still figuring things out. I'll never say that I've made it. There's always a next level. There's always a next stage to get to in business. The conversation in business never ends.
So like you started with something that is so critical and true, and that is right here. The brain is the bottleneck. Your mindset is the bottleneck. But do you recall, like along your path from young hustle and scrappy to the CEO mindset, like was there any key inflection points along the way where you were like, oh my God, this has to change, and you like it was a mind, but it was just a different way of thinking about it that caused you to go not path A but path B, and you're like, whoop, things changed. Can you think of any of those times?
I had several of those during my journey with Squeegee Pros, several of them. And so we're very large in residential. We do about 500 homes a month. We're very large in storefronts, right around 3,000 storefronts. And we have a large commercial division as well. And if I go back many years ago when I was in the middle of building my storefront division, I remember sitting at lunch just by myself, and I was out selling, cleaning windows, and I saw this table next to me, and these guys were dressed in suits. There were 3 of them there, and I was kind of like eavesdropping, just kind of like they were saying things that kind of got my attention. They were salespeople for a company. Mm-hmm. And that was a revelation for me, to where I had this aha moment. I need to hire salespeople. I'll scale my storefront division so much faster. So I built out the system. Another one would be when problems would occur in my company.
Mhm.
Most guys, most dudes were solutionists. We're trying to find the fix to the problem.
Yeah.
But what most end up doing, they come up with the fix, but they don't systemize the fix. So it just keeps happening over and over and over and over again. So one of the revelations I had, or one of these aha moments, was enough is enough, and I need to stop this from happening over and over and over and over again. And that's where it clicked that I need a system. And I don't know if I used the word system for it, but I may have. And so then every time a problem would occur in my company and I start banging my head against the wall, it's like, well, I need a little system to fix this.
Yeah.
And then those problems and issues, they started to go away, and business life got better. It got easier. And I'm like, well, this must be how you do it. This must be how these companies get so large. They've got these processes and systems, and then they have people coming in to run those processes and systems. And so that was a handful of mine. I've had so many of them where I had those, like, holy cow, hold on a minute. I think I just thought of something here. It might change my business for the better, and so on.
Yeah. My team, I don't think they get tired of hearing it, but they hear it a lot because I teach this way, and I go, if something breaks, if there's a problem, like I need two things. We need to fix it, and then we need to set it up so this never happens again. Like, because this was preventable. And like if there are fluke things that aren't preventable, somebody runs a red light and hits your van. That's not a system error. That just happens. But most stuff is you actually can plan and prepare for it by putting a system in place to prevent bad behavior, bad actions, and cause good things to happen. And so was it, you've talked about systems a lot since we started, and I see the way your brain thinks in that area, but was there ever a point where you just you're like, oh my God, I've built a process and someone else can do it? I don't have to be the guy. Did you have that moment where you're like, crap, I don't have to do it?
Because I was exactly the opposite of that. I was the epitome of a micromanager. I had to have my hands in everything. I had to be doing everything. And then there was a little bit of like talk, if you will, like, well, does Jim really trust us to do our job? Why is he always over our shoulder? He's always asking this about this and questions on this. Yeah. And it came to me that moment. And I'm like, you know what? I need to trust my policies. I need to trust my people, and I need to let go. Mm-hmm. And that would have been another one of those moments. And I can remember when it was. I think it was 2012. I had moved out of my house into an office space, and we were growing, and we were figuring all this stuff out. And I can remember. In fact, it was 2012, and I think it was that spring when I had that moment that came before me where it's like, you know what, I'm making a big mistake here by being the micromanager. I need to just let go. And now I don't want to do anything.
There's that. That's a different topic for the old guys like us. But I want to bring Eric Rogers back to it's not really a question, but it's a great point. And you were just speaking to it. He said, I'm scared to death to let somebody else do it. I trust myself, but almost no one else. And so I've been in that exact position. How do you get to the point where you can take your hands off and give it to somebody else and trust that they're going to do it well?
Yeah, that's a great one, Eric. That's a great one. And that is the reason it took me forever to start a residential division. When the market crashed in 2008, that's when I started residential, because I was losing commercial stores and my commercial division and whatnot. And I never started, Eric, because no one's going to do it as good as me. And I did a couple houses here and a couple houses there. It just wasn't a big part of my company at all. But, people, the word gets out a little bit and they want you to come do their home. And I'm like, no one's going to do it like I'm going to do it. Walking into $1 million homes and this, that, and the other. But then that revelation came that if I just put together a great training program, if I hire the A players, people like a mirror image of me, so to speak, good attitude, just, an all around good type person, and just let them shadow me with good training, and build the process out. And we have a 72-point certified training program. They go through that. They're going to be a rock star out there in anybody's home. But that's what it took. And that didn't happen immediately, Eric. It took time to build this out. But I did let go, and I began to trust. And you know what? It all worked out. I mean, if they can, here's the thing. I talk about world-class service systems, and we have 18 elements that make it up. There's it's about the experience, a before, during, and after experience. It's not about the skill set. If the people that are working for you and are going into homes and whatnot, if they can just do it 80%, 85% as good as you, you're golden.
Barry said that. Yeah.
Just tie it into that world-class service system that we have, because that takes you to a whole nother level to where those tiny little things here and there are not a big deal because they've just experienced the experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a true story. I don't remember when it was, but I struggle with that. Like the self-limiting beliefs, like, well, nobody can do it as good as I can. If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. You know, good help is hard to find. All those things, they're just lies that we tell ourselves to stay small. But that's where I was. And I was bemoaning the fact that nobody could do a good enough job and blah, blah, blah. And I was driving on busy interstate or busy traffic like hell. And I'm like, the only thing that's preventing all these people from crashing and killing each other is a white stripe in the center of the road. And I was like, damn, there's a lot of trust built into society driving on a road. And I think I'm a good driver. And I was like, well, most people out here are not crashing. There must be other competent drivers in the world. It's not just me. And I was like, duh. Why don't I train somebody how to do it well and then cut them loose, like find character, train skills, and let them do it and see what happens. And guess what? There are a lot of other people in this world that care, not just me.
Absolutely. And you'll find that as you build out the process, build out the system of training and follow through and whatnot, many will be better than you and me, and they'll be better than us at it.
Yeah. Did you ever experience that where, like, holy shit, somebody's better than me in the field, and then you felt like damn it, but at the same time it's like that feels like success?
Bingo. Because, and this is an important sentence I'm going to share with you and those listening. So $1 Million Playbook, that's my session at the Huge. Get your company into the 7 figures, eclipse $1 million a year. Mm-hmm. The takeaway here is on that journey, every task, every project, every position hat, it's temporary. It's just temporary. Just go through the motions and you'll get there. And I'll be talking about this in my session because it's mindset, that 7-figure CEO mindset, but it's also understanding we're just getting our hands dirty temporarily. It's just temporary. And you'll arrive in time. You'll arrive.
That's cool. All right. Eric had another question. He said, do you have incentives built into the way you pay? Does that help? All right. And before you answer that, I read it in, I don't remember if it was EOS, but recently a business book that said, incentivize the behavior you want. And then that helps people do it. It's not a cure-all, but so now the question is you. Do you have incentives? What do you do? Absolutely.
Absolutely. You have to have it. So again, think like we're thinking 7-figure CEO. We're thinking that if we're going to get there to that level of success, 7 figures we'll call it, you have to have the right people to get there. You have to. So what are the right people? The right people, whether it's technicians or it's office staff, the right people are A players, top tier people. Give them a reason to stay. And one of those reasons is incentivize their role. And we do this, what I call them SPIFs, SPIFFS, SPIFs. And we have them for every single position in my company, a number of them. But SPIFs came about because of issues, challenges, disappointments with technicians that I would have, or even office staff that I would have. And I'm like, well, you know what? I want these people to show up to work on time. I need a SPIF. I need people to not have callbacks. My technicians to not have callbacks. I need a SPIF. And that's where all of this started to come alive. I mean, there's a whole program for this that we do. But yeah, to answer your question, the A player, give them an opportunity to make more than just the hourly wage. If that's how you're paying, or even if you're paying a percentage performance pay, give them a way to reach for higher dollar amounts. And it doesn't always have to be dollars. The spiff can be time off or dollars. It could be a number of different things.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to stick this up on the screen so people know. And I didn't mention it when we first came on, Jim, and I apologize. Window Washing Wealth. You're actually one of the sponsors at the huge convention this year. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good. Glad to be a part of it.
The banner up top.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is, like, for anybody watching, like, wherever you are in your business, if you're striving for that 7-figure mark, because I know, for years that was like, it was almost like a mantra. You hear people at the convention like, got to get to $1 million, got to get to $1 million. I was that. I'm like, come on. But I didn't know how to do it. And your presentation or your teaching in the breakout session, in this case, is going to be a breakthrough session, is simply the $1 million playbook. And it's not a pitch to buy my program and do it. Like, you're very generous with your experience and your understanding and your wisdom. And you're just going to go, here's the playbook. Just do this.
I'm going to be covering quite a bit in the 45 minutes. I went through my my presentation just before, just to make sure it's under 45 minutes. Oh boy, I'm touching that 45-minute number, trying to give everything I've got. And one of the things that I'm putting out there as like a freebie, if you will, is a Q&A session. People are going to have questions on it. I'm going to have my phone number available. So the conversation can continue if you are stuck on lead flow, if you are stuck on the administrative department that you have, if you're trying to build a rock star team or build a roadmap to get there. I mean, I'm going to be at the huge convention the whole time, just hanging out. So if we have a beer and talk shop, that's why I'm there. It's if there's one thing I love to do, it's talk shop. And So, but I'm also going to have a 35-page session resource available also for those, so they can kind of, it's one thing to hear it, but when you can take some of this stuff back with you, even my PowerPoint, those that are interested, I'll send you my PowerPoint with my notes, not just what you see on the screen, but the notes, the bullet points that supports the screen, so that you really can take this information and really start to prioritize what you need to start working on first, second, third to get there.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I'm gonna bring it up. It's long, but I want to read Barry's comment, and then I'm going to ask you a question about what I call the seesaw of business growth. He was talking about your team and incentivizing them, have lunch with them, listen to their dreams, their goals, and their vision, and make your dreams so big that they can fit inside, and then us incentivize them with rewards. Like, Barry, this is pure gold. And I get into a rut of, like, we got to meet this number, we got to meet this metric, we got all these people, and I'm trying to motivate people to meet a goal that I have for the company, when really, if I take care of my people and help them get their goals, it's classic Zig Ziglar. You help enough other people get what they want, you get what you want. It's like they're willing to go to the distance for me because I'm supporting them individually, not just in a blanket fashion. Like, you guys are great, kudos, everybody's having breakfast. But I go, somebody's saving for a car, so I helped put them in touch with a loan officer, because they were going to get, this was a couple of years ago, they were getting a loan for 10.5%. I'm like, go to this credit union, you can get that loan for 4.5%. They're like, why does that make a difference? I'm like, just, we'll do the math, and you look at the payment. And then later they came in like, holy shit, you saved me $8,000. It was dumb, but it was because, I wouldn't have known if I didn't pay attention. Sorry, I pat myself on the back. That was not the point. The point was exactly what Barry said.
And you should give yourself a pat on the back, because Sid, you and I are alike, because I would do the same things. We have our monthly safety meetings. I don't do that now. Christina, Brian run the company. Point is, when I was in the day-to-day with Squeegee Pros, we would have our monthly safety meeting with the technicians. We have weekly meetings with staff, but office staff. But those monthly safety meetings, I would take like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes from that hour, And I would talk fatherly to them. Interest rates, buying a car, buying a house, stock market, credit, to really get their, help them get their life on track, because you can't take a magic pill for this. You can't, they don't even teach this stuff in school anymore. Home economics was a great class way back when I was in school, and I loved that class. How to manage your bank account, little things like that. But Barry, what you had said before, yes, bingo, bingo, bingo on that, because it's when you know what your employees, what their dreams are, and you can begin to help them get to those dreams, it's a win-win any way you look at it. If you can help them get into that house, if you can help them get into that car, maybe your business is a stepping stone for them to be the aeronautical engineer, right? And you can help them get there. Whatever that might look like, a scholarship or a fund or whatever. There's so many different things you can do. So when we do performance reviews or scorecards, these are private discussions that we're having with the employee, and it's not just about my company, it's about them. Yeah. And where do you want to go with this company? Where do you want to go in life? And now all of a sudden there's a bond that's starting to create. Not that you want to be friends with your employees. You got to be a leader, and then you have your employees, right? You can't cross that line, but you can have those conversations and I'll use your word, that 4-letter word that you used, Sid, care. Yeah. Just care. And when you care and you really truly bring those words out, kind of like that, how you said it, Barry, the magic comes alive with your team. The revolving door starts to slow down. The productivity levels start to go up. There's so many positive ramifications to this. Great comment there.
Yeah, I agree. It's a virtuous cycle. So here's the question. We just have a few minutes left. So I'm going to ask you a really big question. There's no way you can answer it in 3 minutes, but I'm going to put you on the spot to summarize it, because you're good at distilling wisdom down. I keep doing this. To bring it down to a palatable package. Here's the question. You mentioned earlier, you've got to have systems, you got to have A players, you got to have lead flow. And there's one other thing you mentioned, but just balancing. I'm trying to build systems, my company. I've got to hire enough people that are of quality, and I'm building my lead flow. How do I try to do that all at once? Is there one area to focus on? Is like that. It's like the seesaw. It's like, well, I focus on lead flow and I got too much business. And I got to hire and I got too many people. And and now I need a system to handle all this. And it can feel overwhelming to do it all at the same time. But what's your take?
Yeah, there's a very simple premise to this. And what that is first, build a platform that you can actually scale from. Build a platform. You should have your recruiting system in place. You should have lead generation flow already coming in. You should have a brand that's beginning to rise above the rest, right? You're building in policies based on where you're at as a company. So if you just have technicians, you need law and order for those technicians. Start there. And then the balancing act, it's a little bit of a seesaw, but simply put, and I know we're pressed for time here, turn the marketing dial on or up, get 3 weeks out. That's your cue to hire if the right season is in front of you. Boom, bring that person in. While you're doing that, you're optimizing each person's role so the productivity level goes up, up, up. And then when you hire another position hat, prior to that, you build out the system. What's the system? For an administrator, for example, the hiring ads, how you're going to do that kind of interview, what processes and checklists and scripts that person needs. And then you hire that person and boom, you start going, I call it just going down the roadmap. That's what I call it, step by step by step. But you have to prioritize the things based on where you're at and where you want to go and start building it out that way. Otherwise, it's like just complete chaos and overwhelming. It don't do anything. It just turns into a mess.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I've experienced that there's a lot of chaos, and a lot of times like I'll get stuck trying to do something and I don't do it because I try to make it perfect, and it's not going to be perfect. Just go set it up and do the best you can, execute, document, and then go back in and just make an improvement. But if you just take action and you actually document the process, you have something to work with. that helps move you forward. So it's never like perfection is a killer of profits, in my opinion, because
Agreed.
you're trying to get it just perfect. You're just not going to go.
Just start. Just do something. And it will begin to work itself out, and you'll get better and better and better. You'll learn from it. And then the systems start to come alive. And, every quarter we go back and look at our systems. It's like, all right, what needs to be updated, changed, tweaked? We're no longer using it. What needs to come in? So we've always got a finger on the pulse. And this becomes really, really important as you go from $250,000 to $500,000, $750,000, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. This stuff really becomes important. And this is why I go into Squeegee Pros every quarter, every 3 months. I'm there for 4, 5, 6 hours. It's SWOT analysis, it's marketing reports, it's profit and loss statements, it's where are we weak, where are we strong, what are our challenges, roadblocks. It's almost a whole day's discussion that we're going through. But what we're doing is we're keeping the ship in the rocket on trajectory where it needs to go.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm going to do this. Eric asked a great question about the Huge convention. So Eric, I'm excited you're going to be here at the Huge this year. It can be such a game changer. The list of sessions beforehand to decide who you want to go talk to, go check out thehugeconvention.com/speakers. We've got all of the speakers with their bio and what they're going to teach. And you'll see Jim on the top row, right under the keynote speakers. And if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see the schedule for everyone. It's all laid out and ready for you. So you can pick the 2 or 3 that you need most so you can be in that session. All right. Thanks, Craig. Good to see you, man. And I agree, because Jim and I get to be in a mastermind together. We get to share war stories and help each other in the Huge convention. And just, we love to talk shop and talk shit and drink good red wine. But you're very articulate and you do a great job of summarizing stuff. So
thank you, Craig, for that. Thank you. I don't know about that, but thank you. I try.
Craig's going to be on with us next Tuesday. I don't know the time yet, but Craig has put together the Rolling with the Window Cleaners Window Cleaning History Museum, and we managed to get a booth space for him at the convention this year. So he's bringing all this cool gear and all that, like the old. For example, Jim, I'm sure you remember the original Tucker water-fed poles, the brassy looking suckers that weighed 400 pounds. And you're like, you got to be Schwarzenegger or Hulk Hogan to drive these things. But that is, he's bringing all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see what Craig brings.
I've auctioned on old window cleaning memorabilia in my office at Squeegee Pros. We have old pictures, 1800, even late 1800 type pictures, and just early 1900s and whatnot. I can't wait to come and see what you got going on there.
Yeah, you guys are going to nerd out together like crazy. So here we go. I'm going to pop the last 2 comments. Thank everybody for being here. I couldn't agree more. The highest recommended person at the Huge to experience or go to listen to speak. And that's like when the people say it, that's when it counts. And you are bringing the passion, and Jim brings the passion. And I couldn't love this industry more. No.
I get excited about this stuff. I tell you, Sid, you and I, we could go on for 3 hours. There is no question about it. We could just go. So many great things to talk about. It's when you eat it, you drink it, you sleep it, you breathe it, you everything it. That's another little strategy to get where you want to go.
You got to you got to have it in your veins so that you understand the thing. So, hey, I appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. Thanks everybody that jumped on and joined us and said hello. Eric, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Huge in 3 weeks. It's all going down. And Barry, of course, we could see you again. I got to meet Barry Little last year. First time I got to meet him. So that's cool. And I'm stoked about the Rolling with the Window Cleaning Museum and what Craig's bringing and his crazy enthusiasm for the industry. But again, thank you, Jim, for teaching and helping lift up. Like you're the rising tide that helps raise the boats, man. Thank you.
Well, I'm truly honored to be here, Sid. It's an absolute pleasure just to hang out and see everybody. I can't wait to get to the Huge convention. It's going to be the best yet. There's no question about it. The data I'm hearing, the things that I'm seeing, it's going to be good. And the speaker lineup, holy cow, it's going to be awesome.
Wow. Yeah, couldn't agree more. And watch for her. Craig's daughter is going to be in your class.
Come on down.
Yeah, and Grace is a piece of work, and I mean that in the best way. Like she brings the heat. So That's awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Jim, thank you. At the Huge. So right now, I'm staying really frosty. I'm not having any wine or anything in the evenings because it makes me relax and I need to stay pointed. But when the Huge is over, we'll have a glass of really nice Cabernet together. And I look forward to it.
You and me, buddy. Thanks.
All right.
Have a great time.
Have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.